friend, I hope that you're having an amazing day today. Let's jump right in. What is Interfaceless? So the reason why I decided to write Interfaceless is because I realized that out there we were using commonly 2D UIs for 3D spaces, and I thought that that didn't make any sense, especially when we have devices right now that have the capabilities of using gesture control and even vision and image recognition. So because of that, I decided to involve myself in different projects and experience how it was like to work with 2D UIs and non-EU traditional UI interfaces. And I realized of the experiment that even more advanced with artificial intelligence models or large language models, we would be in the capabilities of creating better options for interacting with elements or objects or even with the world around when we are using simulations or what is called maybe virtual reality, mixed reality, even augmented reality. So that's it. That's why I created Interfaceless. But even more than that, what is Interfaceless? So Interfaceless is a framework, is a proposal all around trying to understand the nuances of creating interactions in 3D environments and what type of values and what type of principles and what type of concepts we can create that are helpful for any designer, any developer or tech enthusiast in this field. I believe also that not only it is relevant right now for what it has to do with 2D or 3D or extended reality spaces, but also for anything related with using artificial intelligence, because as we know, there is an implication of ethical concern at the moment, and the principles that we created in Interfaceless are actually designed for this type of experiences, whether it is immersive experiences or they are alone artificial intelligence systems. So yeah, that's why I decided to create Interfaceless. So now let's talk about spatial computing. So you might notice that in the title of Interfaceless, it says Interfaceless, conscious design for spatial computing with generative AI. But we need to start with spatial computing. Many people believe that spatial computing is only related about augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality, and that is not true. Spatial computing is actually a group of systems or capabilities that have the possibility for us to interact with the real world even without having any type of maybe devices, as it happens with XR. So that means Internet of Things, it means smart devices that don't necessarily we have to be wearing, maybe elements that are in our home can become also part of spatial computing technologies, and of course artificial intelligence systems. So that differentiation is very important, because when we get to hear spatial computing, we really immediately, especially because also Apple brought to their branding the word spatial computing, we tend to confuse these terms, but spatial computing is beyond extended reality. And also we need to understand a little bit of what conscious design means, based on the circumstances of the ethics that I explained before. That's why I definitely needed to create frameworks that could help us to navigate those ethics situations. So that's why conscious design or mindful design came into place as a proposal for this situation, and I'm going to be explaining a little bit about that, because coming with those conscious design principles was a lot of effort and definitely is very important. I believe at this point that is not just for extended reality systems or spatial computing or artificial intelligence, but any product or service that we might create, which is unbelievable. And when it comes to speaking of using these artificial intelligence systems, maybe in spatial computing environments or circumstances, we also have to talk about generative AI, which is the system that is going to facilitate that those interactions happen seamlessly. And generative AI also has been understood so far as maybe a tool to be able to generate content, like written content, video, these mediums, even maybe text, of course, through ChatGPT and these type of platforms. But it's beyond that as well, because when it comes to the generative aspect, the idea of this is that it can, with more power, more advancement, more capabilities, it might be able to even generate by itself different type of contents that are not necessarily the ones that I explained. An example is 3D content. Now let's talk a little bit about where all of this came from and what's my story about, so you might understand why I definitely decided to write a book about tech and about these topics. So to start off, I was born in South America and in a very poor family and in very difficult circumstances. I was exposed to a lot of violence early in my life because my dad was an alcoholic and abusive person, and I had to navigate on my childhood through these type of difficulties. I had later on in my life even more difficulties. I couldn't go to study journalism, which is something that I was very interested in when I was in high school. And instead, I had the opportunity to go and take engineering, which it was unexpected for me somehow. That's how things unfolded. But at this point, I am very grateful that I did it. I never considered myself very smart enough or capable enough to handle an engineering degree, but I had to do it out of necessity because I had to go to public university, and the only one that I applied is the one that I got the opportunity, so I decided to take it. And when I was in the university, I met someone very special to me, and this person unfortunately committed suicide. This range of things and even more very hard and difficult situations started to give me early on in life a very different perspective of this world. So I started to wonder more and more often, out of pain, why we are here, what is the reason that make us continue in this life, and what's the meaning of being here. And I believe that this has a very influence in everything that I do at this point in my life, because I am not doing these things just for the immediacy of trying to get a specific result, that it has to be under a specific plan and very rigid as I used to see the life before. But now I have a mission and I have a desire to share the journey and to share maybe my reflections with anybody who is interested to know about them from another typical perspective. So that's one of the reasons that I've been informed a lot about the creation of Interfaceless. After I was able to achieve my credentials of engineering in Canada, I was able to even research even more independently. And after years of work of experience in engineering, I decided to start writing Interfaceless, because I believe that technology is a very huge determinant for the economy, for the society, and it has a huge impact in our lives. And I believe that the people that is designing or creating this experience have also a huge responsibility for the society and the individuals. And that's why I decided to write something that I believed was proposed as a framework, but also was proposed as a sort of reflection on what type of things we are creating. In fact, the tag of the podcast and of everything that I do is, what world are we creating? Let's talk a little bit about some of the uses of not only spatial computing, but also extended reality, artificial intelligence systems today. So some of the ones that are a little bit unusual that we might hear of are laying down in very, very common type of industries, but we sometimes don't know a lot about it. For example, in the agricultural industry, in the construction industry, in the architecture industry, which is very, very exciting for me, and also other industries like education, health, and studies in biology, studies in physics, etc. So because of this reason is that the early adopters of these studies really have a responsibility on how are shaping not only the view but also the responsibility of products and services and systems and everything that we can imagine that is going to happen in the future. This responsibility is something that has led to many people in the world in these fields to begin to study these technologies, to incorporate them in their field of work. And in fact, I invite anybody who is in any type of profession to begin to study, especially systems related with artificial intelligence, because this system is absolutely breaking through all the walks of life and work, and it has a very definite before and after for us in any profession in the way that we do work. So that's why I'm inviting you to check out the next episode of Interfaceless when we're speaking about how the book came to be from beginning to end, plus the content itself of the book. I love you and see you in the next episode. Bye for now.